Hello everybody, welcome back to BareRose Garage. What are we doing today? Well, you can see I got my parts car around and I'm about ready to yank this old nose off of it here and get all the pieces and parts I need for the other one that's in the shop so we can get this thing on the road. Now, what I wanted to talk to you about today though is 1950s car safety. That's right, they had it built in back in the late 50s, and in fact, it even goes back farther than that. Now, what you see in action here is the floating front end. These front ends, like, yeah, you've seen it in my older video when I was working on the 58 Fairlane. This happens to be a Tudor, T-U-D-O-R. It was Ford's classification for a what? Tudor. Anyway, what do you see is going on right here? When I went to go pick up this car from the junkyard, it was in a bad spot. And that's why the car is so complete. It was hard to get to, so not a lot of people were over there stripping on it. Now, it was down inside of a big old sand berm. When I bought the car, Walt went out to go get it with the loader. I gave him a full week to go get it because there was cars stacked all the way around it. You know how junkyards are, especially these old ones. Anyway, he went in there, he got it cleaned out as good as he could, moved all the other cars. But when he went in with the front end loader, he hooked it in right here and picked it up. And he had to pick it up, it was a good probably a good 10, 12 feet up in the air on this big loader. And when he came back out of it, that front tire on the loader caught a sand berm and it rocked up. And when it rocked up, this car right here, it slid off the forks and did a complete total nosedive right into the ground, and then luckily came back to rest on, well, it didn't have all four wheels, but you get the idea, right side up. Totally destroyed the front end when it happened. This front end was actually in pretty good shape when I bought it. The hazards of buying from the junkyard, it's not Walt's fault, it's just the way it happened. Anyway, what you seen happen right then and there was a front end collision, a good hard hit front end collision. So let's make wine out of these crushed grapes, and I can show you the 1950s safety that they had built into these old cars. Now on these cars, like I said, they have what is called a floating front end, and I'll basically give you the rundown on that. What it is back here, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bolts holding this front end on. Well, 6. I always forget that one up inside of here. There's another one in the fender well. This part of the front end, the front clip here, is held secure right here. Now up front, there's only one bolt holding the whole front end on up front. It's in the bottom of the radiator support. Like I said, you can go back and watch my other video on when I'm pulling the front end off of the other one. Yeah, you'll get the idea. It's just one big bolt goes down through the core support and holds everything in the front together. Now, why would they do that? It's a design that goes all the way back. It's actually for safety, and you can see it in action right here. What that does is when it's involved in a heavy front end crash, like this one just so happened to have, you can see how the front end crumples up, and this always rides up and pushes up and away. So this whole thing buckles up as the front end comes up and absorbs all of that energy here. Now, on a Ford, they had the forward lifting hood. You can kind of see why people got a little freaked out by that. Because in a good head-on collision, yes, this hood does go through the windshield and comes back and cuts your head off. But I gotta tell you with 200% certainty that this was actually a safer design. Yes, if you got involved into a front end collision, this hood does come through and cut your head off. but how many times do you get involved into a front end collision? What this hood also does is if you forget to latch it, or if your latch goes bad, this hood will never open as you're going down the road, especially at high speeds. And that's why most sports cars, the hood, the safety latch on this opens forward. Now this is just my opinion, but I believe that the automakers gave in on that safety. They didn't want the front that coming through the windshield. I think they bowed out of that, not because of safety, but if the hood opens this way, and you'll know it on like a sports car, modern sports cars that actually still do this. Yeah, safety, yeah, right. They're harder to work on. It's much easier to work on a car that the hood opens this way. But that's my little tidbit. Anyway, I hope that helps out there. And in the meantime, get out there and get some metal hot. Even with the train keeps on rolling, because that clock, she don't stop for nobody. So let's all hop on that train and get out there and keep that metal hot.